Before we get this show started, let's hear from our sponsor. Angler's Coffee roasts a full range of coffees with one goal in mind, delivering excellent coffee to every single angler. And I'm one of those anglers who loves Angler's Coffee. Great tasting, robust, and good to go. And if you haven't noticed, this is Dave from the Wet Fly Swing podcast. I'm here because I'm good friends with Greg, and we are both supporting a great coffee company, and you should too. Angler's Coffee just released a new subscription program, and you can get 22% off, not just 20% off. We're going the extra distance here. 22% off of this box and all products at anglerscoffee.com. Just use the coupon code FFI20 at checkout to get 22% off of great coffee today. That's anglerscoffee.com.
Hey, what's up, listeners? Before we begin today's podcast, just a bit of housekeeping here for you. And an amazing announcement that I want to make sure that you guys are definitely aware of. So, the first thing is on, Stillwater School. We have a Stillwater School program this year at Skacheen Lodge in beautiful British Columbia. So, for anyone that's ever wanted to learn Stillwater, this is the place. And your instructor is the one and only Phil Rowley. He and I have teamed up. We've partnered up to bring you guys a in-person, on-water, Stillwater School, and that's from June 24th to the 27th at the lovely and beautiful Skacheen Lodge out in British Columbia. So basically, if you've ever wondered, about the Stillwater fishery and how it works, the insect life, the lake life, different tactics, from subsurface to surface to indicator fishing, all that sort of stuff. Of course, Phil will do his fly tying as well, and what flies work for each time of the year and everything like that works on the Stillwater topic. So making sure that goes with you guys as well. So one of the really cool things is the lodge itself. I mean, it's $1,600 per person. It includes everything you can possibly think of, except for your fishing license. You're going to have to buy that on the government website. So all your meals, all your drinks, all your boats, rod fees, all that sort of stuff at the lodge is taken care of. The lodge offers 5-star food, super nice, beautiful setting, beautiful lodge. The accommodations are great. I can say this because I have been there, and that's why we're going back, because it's the perfect setting. It's perfect lodge. There's beautiful wild Kamloops rainbow trout in the lakes there. There's over 16 lakes. Each of them have their own private boat on them. So if you're out, you're fishing, you want to take after the course, you want to go and fish your own private water, that's totally possible to do so. These are amazing. Like, I can guarantee you're not going to see another person on that lake. So it's just you and a friend or your partner, whoever it is that you want to bring with you, if anyone. And it's just, to have a lake by yourself, to smash these massive rainbows that just fight like tanks. It's so wonderful. So again, that's June 24th to the 27th. It's a 4-day, 3-night program. It's at Skacheen Lodge in beautiful Kamloops, British Columbia, and it's also, Phil Rowley and I are putting that on. So again, that's the Stillwater School. One of the ways, if you guys are interested in learning more about this program or doing this program, and it is going to fill out because we only are limiting it to 12 people, is to reach out to me via DM, reach out to the lodge, that's Skacheen, SKITCHINE, lodge.com, and sign up for the Stillwater School there. Or, of course, you could always reach out to Phil Rowley, flyfishing.com as well as another option. So these are all great opportunities. It is going to go fast. Make sure you get yourself in there. So I'm looking forward to seeing you. It's, again, like I said, an amazing opportunity if you've ever wanted to learn Stillwater, or if you do know Stillwater and you do want to brush up on some skills and learn from one of the Stillwater pioneers and legends, Phil Rowley. All right, guys, let's get back to the show. Hey, Fly Fishing Insiders, we are here with Togen's Fly Shop, and Justin and Stanton are here again. Hey, guys.
Hey, Greg. Hey, Greg.
Excellent. Justin, what's new for Togen's this year?
This year, we're really expanding on the Euro nymphing hook, jig hook, and slotted bead setup. We've expanded the colors out on our slotted beads, as well as brought in oversized beads up to 4.8 mil for the Euro nymphing.
Amazing. Stanton, As a protein tire, how does this benefit us?
The slotted beads and jig hooks are fantastic as, for urine nymphing applications in the rivers. They, they ride inverted. They don't pick up on the rocks. They're great. But one of the things that I've really enjoyed using them for is for stillwater patterns, such as leeches and nymphs. Having that jig hook ride inverted like that, being able to get down into the zone, not picking up all the weeds like you might with a regular hook, with the hook facing down, is really beneficial. And the nice thing about these hooks too is they're ultra strong. I've held some big fish, some big bull trout, and some big panask with them on smaller hook sizes like 14 and 16, and they're holding the fish. So I think people are really gonna like these hooks and beads.
Truly amazing. Justin, where can we find these products?
You can find both the slotted beads and the jig hooks on our website at togansflyshop.com.
Awesome. Let's get back to the show. Welcome to the Fly Fishing Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Greg Keenan. This is Season 3 of the Fly Fishing Insider Podcast. In this episode, we aim to bring you the biggest and best stories from those who work and make our fly fishing industry truly great. The Fly Fishing Insider Podcast dives deep into the past, present, and future of all our guests, uncovering their amazing stories and journey. Join us each week as we interview a new podcast guest. Also, if you're new to the show or not yet a subscriber, make sure you hit subscribe after this episode. Welcome to the Fly Fishing Insider Podcast. Today our guest, Denis Isbister. Denis, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Yeah, no worries.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, you're always welcome.
I always love talking to my Canadian buddies.
I know. Actually, we'll probably talk about some of the stuff that you do up here in Canada. So, but I know there's many people that might not know, or my listeners might not know exactly who you are. But you're the host of Wild Fish, Wild Places. You're also an experience guide for Pyramid Lake, and we're going to get into all that. But man, I mean, really,
not a guide. Not a guide.
Not a guide. No. You're just
no, not a guide. Just a very experienced
angler.
And angler. Yeah, it's my home waters of Pyramid Lake, and the reason, and I get confused a lot with being a guide because I take a lot of people fishing. I promote a lot of how-to stuff at Pyramid Lake. I was kind of the first ever to really put out any. It started with a DVD, honestly, years ago. With a how-to DVD on how to fish Pyramid Lake. So I just kind of, people just automatically associate you with a guide when you start putting that stuff out there. But I'm not a guide. I just fish there a whole bunch.
Well, you can bring me anytime, so we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, perfect.
Sounds good. So the biggest thing, though, is Wild Fish, Wild Places. And I mean, that's like everyone's dream job, mine included. You are traveling the world fishing for exotic species, non-exotic species, just fish. Really cool stuff. So yeah, tell us a bit about that and tell us how you got into fly fishing and fishing in general.
Yeah, for sure. Well, fishing in general, I've been going since I was a baby. Honestly, my grandma and grandpa started taking me when I was 1 year old, honestly. Obviously I didn't fish, but it's just been part of my life, my lifestyle since I was a little kid. That's all we did all summer was fish, and then when I got to be 12, all we did all winter is hunt. So it's been a huge part of my life, to say the least. And then the filming stuff, Wild Fish, Wild Places. I got into that about 12 years ago. And the concept of Wild Fish, Wild Places kind of came from Lake Athabasca up in northern Saskatchewan, talking with some friends, and I wanted to develop a show that I felt there was a niche in the market for a show that was crazy travel, exotic species, adventure driven, along with some backyard stuff and a little bit more, the how-to stuff, but just more for anglers. There was a few of those things out there, Jeremy Wade, Nat Geo, which everybody loves those types. I kind of wanted to do a mix of the two, and I set out to do that. And I think 2009 is when I started down that path. And I'd done some work in the hunting world with a friend of mine and enjoyed it, and kind of thought that I could make a go out of it. So I borrowed a bunch of money and, gave a bunch of handshakes and I went from a world of construction where I was doing really well, contracting and into a world that I really knew nothing about, in the worst economy that any of us have ever seen. And it was absolutely the hardest thing I have ever done. It was so difficult, way, way harder than I expected it to be. I thought I could sell because I could sell houses back in the day, and I was just lying to myself. Yeah. It was tough. It was a tough deal. Going into ICAST those first few years, it was, literally had people tell me to leave. Get out of my booth. I can't talk to you.
Really? What? Like, why? Like, what do you think that was?
Well, it was because, we just had this huge crash in the economy, and they were getting rid of people that's been working with them already for years. And, trying to ask them about to support a first year TV show, or second year TV show. And they're just like, dude, literally get out of the booth. I don't have any time to talk to you. Like, I just lost 80% of my marketing budget. I'm telling friends of mine to go that I can't support them anymore. And you want me to come in here and support you get out of here, dude. Just leave.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, it was pretty nuts. So I just kept pounding away and trying to keep that, the positivity high, and, it was a 99% rejection rate, but that 1% we would build on, and anyway, and ended up making a go of it. So here we are.
So your first year of doing the show to where you are now, I mean, obviously there's a big difference in sponsorship and how things are running and stuff like that. So, what other first year struggles did you have, in case there is anyone out there, looking to do a show or wondering how it works? Like, what would your advice be for those people?
My advice, and I get this question a lot, but my advice is, first and foremost, you need to ask yourself if can you sustain without a paycheck for a couple of years? If you've got money saved, if you've got your overhead is low enough to where you can get through with little to no money for a few years. And most of the time the answer is, well, no, I got a house payment, I got kids, and I got a truck payment and a boat payment. And then I'm like, well, and that's what I had to give up, right? Like, I had to sell everything. I had to move into a house that was paid for. I had to sell. I drove a 98 Mercury Tracer around for a couple years, to borrow here and begged and got by. And most people won't live uncomfortably for a few years to
make their dream happen.
Achieve their dream. Yeah. Or they're just not in a position to do it. They got 3 kids, and they've got an ex-wife and child support and alimony, and, whatever. But, that was a big struggle, and a huge hit to the ego. I was super successful in the contracting world. And so you have to really want it, I guess. You have to really want the lifestyle, and, you're probably never going to make $1 jillion doing it, as it's like, it's more, you have to want to do it for the lifestyle. You have to want to do it for, literally living the dream. Everybody says the saying, living the dream. And, and I just kept grinding it out and grinding it out and grinding it out and making connections and working for free to get in with people and working my way up. And, here we are 12 years later and doing well. And the difference is, you ask, the difference from, first couple of years till now, like those first couple of years, I was actually doing a podcast with my buddy from Fishing Florida Radio, last week. And we were laughing about this because first year at ICAST, nobody, I know a few people just from friends in the industry, and that's it. And getting ran out of booths and not knowing who to even talk to and how to go about it, and walking into this giant show where things are happening and nobody knows who you are, or nobody cares who you are.
Yeah, you haven't done anything.
You know, they don't give a shit, you know? And so then fast forward a few years, and even, you know, the last couple of years it was open. I mean, I know everybody. I've got appointments set up. I'm going out to dinners with some of the biggest names in the industry. You know, we're having cocktails, we're having dinners. You go in a booth and there's pictures of me and videos that I built, and me and my team built, and people are excited to see you. And you know, we launched, you know, back a few years ago with Yakima Bait, we launched the new spin fish for salmon fishing. It was the biggest new product launch in company history. We launched it at ICAST together. And, you know, just having those successes and, you know, coming from year, you know, 1, 2, 3 to present day, it's just a whole different world. And it's so sweet too. It's such a sweet victory because it was so difficult back in the day. So.
Well, it's, you know, it's even difficulter now, if that's a word, difficulter. I'm really on that. It's extremely difficult now. I mean, it's hard now. I mean, the way things are delivered and the amount of video that we're consuming. I mean, I find it like look at podcasting. Okay. I've been in it 3 years, and, you know, there wasn't as many fly fishing shows. I mean, the people that are coming up now, I mean, there's probably 200 more shows than there was 3 years ago. And I mean, there's a lot of competition, right? Like the whole game's changed. People are looking at video now more so than audio. I mean, it's crazy. So
it is,
you know, like I see the challenges, that are definitely there. I know, and I can picture like how it was back when you were, you know what I mean? Like, especially like in the economic times that it was, right? So kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Cool. But I mean, hey, you persevered, you kept going, you followed it. Like you said, you're living the dream, and here you are now. We're like, you're off. I mean, this is why we're having this really early morning podcast, because you're off somewhere this weekend, or you're off. Yeah. I remember you were saying your timing. Where are you off to next?
Yeah, actually just here. So one of the great things about having Pyramid Lake in my backyard is I'm able to host, you know, some people. And so Yakima Bait, my Yakima Bait guy was here, and another friend of mine that has a TV show in the Pacific Northwest. And we filmed Pyramid the last couple of days with some new products, some old products, and some different techniques. And then I've got a couple days here, and then Okuma and Fish Lab guys are coming on Monday. So they're going to be here all next week. All next week. And we're filming. And so, yeah, just that's kind of what we're doing now. As far as big trips planned for the year, we're going to be heading to the Seatuck to go steelhead fishing in April.
Okay.
Got some Alaska plans. That's in Alaska too, but got some other like August Alaska plans on the books. Mexico, we're trying to figure out going down to Mexico here in the next couple months as well. So.
Perfect. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. So,
yeah.
I mean, COVID, obviously, you know, the world's shut down. We got a ton of bad news recently with a bunch of partners that we had for trips, and I mean, same thing, right? It's all shut down for us up here in Canada and our rules and regulations. So I know at least you're getting out there much more so than us, but for sure. So let's talk Pyramid. I mean, you're fishing there, you're doing that. I always love talking Pyramid with you. You fish it both conventionally and on fly. What do you prefer? What's more successful, actually?
More successful conventional, and I prefer conventional out there because it's, you know, Pyramid is a fun fishery no matter how you do it. The problem with fishing ladders and just fly fishing Pyramid with me, in my personal opinion anymore, is it's too crowded. The tribe has shut down so many areas that we used to be able to go and kind of get away from people. That they kind of choked everybody into, you know, 20 different beaches, not even that many, probably, you know, 15 different spots. So conventional fishing for me is there's just so much more to it. There's, you know, if you're trolling, there's, you know, you've got rigs and lines and ideas all across the board from, all these different lures and different depths and different speeds and, planer boards and flat lines and just all this different stuff that really intrigues me and keeps my brain moving. You can run jigs and glide baits and all this other stuff out of the boat. And I can go across a lake usually and get away from everybody and fish some areas that I like to fish. With that being said, I still try to do a little bit of that out of my boat as well. But Stillwater, in the next few weeks, they've already kind of went to eating midges.
Yeah.
But, the chironomid deal, that stuff really starts to kick off here in the next couple weeks. If we get some warm days like next week, and that is going to, that's where it gets intriguing to me. And I love the Stillwater stuff like you do. And honestly, I love Stillwater rainbow trout fishing more so than the trolling part of rainbow trout. Like indicator fishing, out of my boat for rainbow trout is way more fun than trolling. But pyramids, it's just not the same for me for some reason. It's just not quite as successful, I guess, and not quite as active. And so I really do like, fishing pyramid a little different. But I would love to have somebody like you that really understands it and can dedicate. That's the other problem is I talk about it, and me and a buddy go out there, and you fish them for an hour and you maybe get a grab or two or nothing. Well, I mean, it's really hard not to just go catch fish.
Yeah.
We can throw a jig or we can fire up the motor and troll, immediately start catching fish. So you have to have somebody dedicated to try to figure that stuff out with you in the boat.
But I truly believe that if you do figure it out and you do crack that code, and once you learn it and stuff like that, like you're going to get a better experience. Do you know what I mean? And you'll the fishing is just phenomenal. Like you can catch, like we up here can catch like 40 fish days when you're on that chironomid hatch.
Oh yeah.
Like they're just swimming with their mouth open, and they get, the trollers are looking over at you going, what is that guy doing different? Get in closer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and that's we're the place, where we're running, where we're running baits is on the bank too. That's what those fish are in shallow, and they are, right now they're up close and doing the deal in the rocks. And I think it would just take, it would take some time. But the other thing is too, these aren't 18-inch, 20-inch trout either. These fish need bait fish to survive. They can't make a living on chironomid no matter how many they eat. So, for me too, like a lot of times, it's so much fun seeing what they'll eat. Seeing how big of stuff I can get them to eat, and stuff like that. Big baits.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Canada style stuff.
Yeah, that's speaking of Canada. You do some stuff out in Saskatchewan, which there's some big fish in that lake. That's what Athabasca Lake, correct?
Yeah. Yep. Athabasca. Yeah, that place. I've been going up there for 13 or 14 years. Just about every year I've been there. Maybe missed 5 years total over the last 15, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that place. I mean, big fish, fly fishing, fly fisherman's dream for big pike.
Yeah.
Just, the first year I ever went there, we were stripping big bunny leeches and, when they wouldn't eat, they wouldn't eat something conventional. They would eat a fly. They'll eat a fly every time.
Nice. I love it. I got to get there. I think I have to get there. That's the thing. So,
it's fantastic. Fly fishing for pike.
Where do you go where do you stay? Like, tell me all about Athabasca. Let's just talk about that because I think it's such a cool fishery. And again, it's Stillwater. So where do you go? Where do you stay? Like, how's that work?
So I've been going up there with a company called Lakers Unlimited. And, we got hooked up with them years ago. A guy named Ryan Lowry owns it now, who was a guide there for years, a little younger than me, bought it from the original owner. Done a lot of work on it, fixed it up over the last few years, new boats, big safe, fancy boats. Put a lot of money and a lot of work into that fishery. So that Lakers Unlimited, there's a few different options when you go there, but Lakers Unlimited is in kind of the middle of the lake. They're in a chain of islands, so it's safe. When the wind comes up, you're always protected. You can always get in and out of there. And then they have another lodge too, like an outpost camp called Spring Bay.
Okay.
And it's really targeted towards more of the pike side of things. Lots of big weed bays. But they've got big Lakers down there as well. But the Johnston Island camp at Lakers Unlimited is where we've been most of the time. And, it's just a huge body of water, which is always interesting to me. A couple of things there, I don't know, I think it's the 9th largest lake in North America.
Mm-hmm.
So it hasn't been ruined by, commercial fishing. I'm sure that hurt the fishery years and years ago, but it's such a rich fishery. It's come back really well. The lake trout fishing, you can't explore it all hardly. There's so much area for pike and lake trout. And, we fly fish the big Lakers in September when they move shallow a few times. It's just amazing place, big Lakers and lots of them. It's not uncommon at all to have days where, you boat 60 plus Lakers and, a quarter of them are over 25 pounds.
Yeah.
And the other ones are, 18 to 20, lots of them, and just a fantastic fishery.
For sure. I mean, and those Lakers they're so fun. But I look at it like it's kind of like, have you ever fished Northwest Territories?
A little bit. Yeah. I fished up at a place called Nanacho Lake, which is 120 miles, I think, southeast of Yellowknife.
Okay.
We fished that for 18 days one time. Very untouched waters.
They're all untouched water up there. I mean, no one's going there.
Good point. Yeah.
And it's funny because I remember in my younger days, we used to go and fish. I used to go up and mine up there for diamonds, and I was a cook in the camp. And and we used to go to Great Bear Lake, and I remember we had to get our water from there. We'd fly the helicopter in, and we'd land just on the shores, and you'd have to dip these big water, those big 5 liter those office water bottles. Well, we'd be holding those underwater submerged. The water's so clean up there. And I remember I had this folding rod, and I was just screwing around. And I cast between a bunch of ice. Boom, 32-pound lake trout. What I mean? Just insane.
Oh my God.
Insane on one of those cheap. I landed it. We ate it because you're in the bush, so it's fresh meat. Really, really cool. It's just fantastic fisheries. So I do know what you mean, how big these waters are and stuff like that. And I mean, I've looked at Great Bear Lake and I compare it to Athabasca and Great Slave as well. I mean, these are just massive bodies of water. And they're unexplored. They're deep. They're cold. They're, yeah. So where I'm kind of going with that is I know like the weather and stuff, when you guys were there, have you ever experienced any weather or any issues like that where it's just because when that weather rolled in, man, those lakes are nasty.
Oh yeah, every time we go, we get something. The worst time it's ever been was at Nanacho Lake. We fished for about 7 days, just started to really figure it out, started pounding big Lakers, and then this big Arctic front moved in and wouldn't leave. It bottomed out the barometric, it couldn't even get out for the next 7 days, off and on, and I mean, never really caught another big fish. I mean, it's just crazy.
Crazy, definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
No,
and Athabasca, it's so big, and it's so big that where those big lake trout, where you like to fish those big lake trout, it's pretty exposed. And so when the weather comes in there, you can go fish and go do things at least, but you just can't go out where you want to go for the big lake trout because it just gets nasty.
Oh, I know. It's
I've never
dangerously nasty. Like it's for a lake. You think you're on the ocean.
It is. Yeah. You can't see the other side. And it's dangerous, like you said, I've never had to spend the night on an island out there, but my uncle has, they tried to fish it in September and, it's got a big wind and they had to sleep on the island that night.
That sucks. That definitely sucks.
Yeah.
So you and the crew, you're not out there filming. You're like, oh shit, we're stuck on an island.
Oh yeah, I stuck on an island. We actually got left by the float plane one time for that, but there was a cabin and an old German guy in Alaska. We were an hour and 20-minute float plane ride from the lodge, and the float plane came back to get us and couldn't land because it had such a bad crosswind. He couldn't get down, and so he left us there. So, and this old German guy named Ludwig was there, and he came walking down, and he had a little cabin. He's had a cabin there since like the 70s, and said, you guys come stay the night with me. Come on down. So we took all our gear and pushed it in the boat and about a mile down to his place, and we caught some silvers that night, and he had some pasta that he let us eat. He didn't share his candy bar though, which I don't blame him.
That's funny.
So we had some hot tea and some salmon and pasta and a roof over our head and a little cot upstairs, and plane picked us up the next day. It was great.
Perfect. I'm just picturing it. So this plane's trying to land. You're like, oh, what the hell? You're probably, because you can't talk to the plane. So you're probably like, what the hell is this guy trying to do? Right? He's circling around. He's trying it different ways, and it's just, and then all of a sudden you see this plane like fly away. You must be like, what the frig, man? Like, what's going on? Right? Like, I could just picture that.
So dude, it was craziness, and I'm an outdoorsman.
Yeah.
This stuff doesn't bother me at all, but my camera guy at the time was a golfer, not an outdoorsman. In fact, the least outdoorsman you could probably picture. The only outdoors experience he's had is really with me. And so when we got dropped off, Chris, the pilot, told me, like, hey, if the wind switches on you, which I think it will, I'm going to pick you up over on this lake over here. You guys got to walk over here. I said, okay. And that's what happened. We got over there. Well, it was blowing pretty serious. So he comes in and he gets low and he's buzzing us, and he picks up again. And he goes, makes another approach, and he tries it on the other side. And he picks up again. About 4 times he tries it. And then the last time he picks up and he banks left over top of us and waves at us. He was right above us. He's waving at us. And I just went, uh-oh. And my camera guy is like full panic mode. He's like, I think he wants us to go over there. I think he wants us to pick us up over there. And I'm like, dude, that was a goodbye. See you later. I said, we're spending the night. And he's like, no, we can't leave us here. And I'm like, bro, we're spending the night. You better relax because it's happening. And he's just panicking.
Hilarious. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, spending it. What other good stories do you have, like from traveling that are kind of entertaining like that?
Oh gosh, this is a never ending conversation. In fact, that's why I started my podcast, the behind the scenes filming podcast, talking about funny stories that nobody else gets to hear. But we've had so many good adventures. I don't know. I think we've been to 12 different countries and I don't know how many different trips and stuff, but, we had a funny story in Argentina one time. If anybody's ever been in and out of Buenos Aires, they know usually you got to come into one airport in Buenos Aires and then you got to take a cab to the other airport and then go somewhere else if you're going within the country. Mm-hmm. And it's about a 20-minute cab ride to a 2-hour cab ride, depending on traffic. It's that bad. One day there's 2 groups of us, 2 different cabs, and we're going home, but we're on the freeway. We're going to a hotel, and our cab driver decides he's going to race with the other cab driver. And so we're in 5 lanes of freeway traffic in Buenos Aires, and he's dipping and diving and darting, and the girl that's with us is getting ready to puke. And all of a sudden, this minivan cuts him off, and they're having the words, exchanging, flipping each other off, and then, doing all this deal. And well, he radios ahead. His buddy that he's racing's ahead of him. He basically blocks his minivan. Well, our cabbie gets out of the cab with a knife in his pocket and is trying to fight this guy in the minivan and possibly stab him.
Freaking hilarious. What were you guys like? You must have been like panicking.
I was like, hey, no. And my buddy was like, yes, kick his ass.
Jesus.
Egging him on. I'm like, God, you are a redneck, aren't you?
The streets of Buenos Aires. There we are. I love it. So Dennis, so basically just to sum things up here really quickly. I mean, you got your podcast, you got your TV show, and you got your amazing fishery that you're hitting. What else are you doing? What else is next for you?
We've been spending some time on the YouTube channel lately, about 11 months into it now, maybe 10. So I got Wild Fish, Wild Places YouTube channel going good out there, releasing a lot of our old, we just released a Kamchatka fly fishing in Kamchatka show that we did, the episode 1 of 2. That kind of stuff is going there, plus a lot of how-tos that have been doing real well, a lot of pyramid how-tos, trout how-tos, all that kind of stuff. So we're doing that. That's basically it. So we've got Amazon Prime, the World Fishing Network, the Sportsman's Network up there where you guys are, YouTube, Wild Fish, Wild Places Behind the Scenes podcast. Yeah, that's kind of what we're doing, putting a lot of energy into all that stuff.
I can tell you, just having a podcast, you're a busy guy because mine keeps me busy. So that definitely does. And it seems like you get out fishing more than we do. And so, I'm going to chalk that up to the fact that, for 8 months out of the year, I feel like we're covered in ice. And I just
exactly.
It's just don't ice fish. So where do you think, like, what's next for you? Like in 5 years, fast forward 5 years, like what do you want to do? What are you thinking? What would you ultimately love to see accomplished for the whole Wild Fish, Wild Places brand, for yourself, for everything else?
Fast forward 5 years from now, it's funny, and the television show stuff has been, on a steady decline for, since I started, basically. So it'll be just interesting to see how that develops, what that looks like in 5 years. None of us really know. Is it kind of hit that spot where it's going to level out, or if it's just going to go, a different direction? I expect our Amazon numbers to grow. But the digital footprint needs to be bigger, I think, and that's where we're going. So in 5 years from now, I'd like to see, a lot of the same quality programming that we're putting out and getting to, even more fishermen, getting out there and going on some really cool adventures along with the local stuff that we do and just keep that going. Have some, we got some great companies that are supporting us. I'd like to see that continue, and hopefully in 5 years from now, it's all still here, and we've just got a bigger digital footprint.
Who's your supporters? Who did you mention that? Who's your supporters?
Let's see. So on the fly fishing side, I've got Adamsville Fishing, Thomas and Thomas Rods, Monarch Fly Lines is huge for us. We've got Monarch Fly Lines have been doing really good things. Fulling Mill Fly Company, they make wonderful flies. And then we've got Yakima Bait, Okuma, Fish Lab Tackle, Tasmanian Devil Lures, Glacier Glove, Tackle Webs. Let's see who else. Panther Martin Spinners, Sea Eagle Boats, inflatable boats, Lumacraft boats, hard boats. I think, I don't know if that's it or not, but yeah, that's a group of them anyway.
Crazy. Love it. So, alrighty. Hey, Dennis, I know you're busy, as are we, but I definitely wanted to thank you for your time today. And, I want to thank you for you're always welcome back on the show. I know we talk a lot, so definitely want to thank the audience, and man, I wish you guys the best. I
Yeah,
can't wait to see the new content that you got coming out and down the pipe here. So definitely make sure you send us some links on that, and we'll definitely put some links within our show notes as well. So thanks, Dennis.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. And everybody, thanks for listening. Appreciate all the fans out there and all the support. You know, we love it. And we love talking to people. So, you know, if you need anything, on our travel, if you need any updates or advice on the travel, go with us. We host trips to a few places a year.
Yeah, where can they find you at? Really, where can they find you?
You can find me on the socials, probably the easiest. Denis Isbister, DenisIsbister. So Denis Isbister on Instagram, social media, all across. Wild Fish Wild Places. We're pretty easy to find. A phone number, wildfishwildplaces.com. If anybody wants to get a hold of us, we're pretty accessible. So.
Perfect. Again, I'll put all that within the show notes. So, all right, Denis, all the best, my friend.
Thanks,
Let's stay in touch.
You too.
Okay, buddy.
Yep. Can't wait to have you down fishing when we can travel again.
No worries. All right. You've been listening to the Fly Fishing Insider podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, tell us by liking this episode and subscribing to the show. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Fly Fishing Insider Podcast. See you next week.